Asher, how's it going?
Good, man. How's it going with you? Happy Friday.
It it is going wonderful. Happy Friday, my friend. Thank you for doing this. So, welcome everybody. The latest and greatest partner intelligence podcast. And this is episode one. And what we're going to discuss, Asher and I, today is the state of AI in partnerships. And by the way, I'm Latif Hamlani, your podcast host, and very warm welcome to Asher Mathew, who is the co-founder and CEO of Partnership Leaders. Hey, Asher, what's tell us what's new in your world? I see you on social media a lot, and you're hobnobbing with all the VIPs and the CPOs, and
I'm grateful to people to give me some time, but things are busy. I would say I've worked harder this January than any other January before, which is great. But also, I'm like, shouldn't this job get easier? So, no, we're having a lot of fun. I mean, we finally are hitting another stride in the company. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Asher Mathew. I'm co-founder and CEO of Partnership Leaders. We are a modern research advisory, training, events, and community experiences company. And I always say this: we have one customer that we serve. It is the partnerships team around the world, which is fantastic because you can go very deep into what their needs are, what their challenges are. We can celebrate their successes. We can help them learn from their failures, and with the ultimate goal of helping them grow in their careers by making an impact on their companies.
so a true partnership leader champion is what you are, Asher Mathew.
True and
Okay,
true, through
all
and
right.
through, I guess.
Okay. Well, we're in the same boat, buddy. I'm right behind
Exactly.
you. I'm right behind you with the oars.
Exactly. Well, tell people about yourself. Like tell them how you got to this point of starting a podcast. This is
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that segue. So I've been in, for those who haven't met, I've been in big tech for about a little over 35 years.
okay.
Don't let the hair fool you. It's white. This is hair dye. Worked for companies like Oracle, Microsoft, HP, AWS, and a few other software companies, enterprise software companies, in a variety of roles. I've done software development and sales and consulting. But the last 15 years, my passion has been channels, alliances, and cloud. And what I realized over time, over these 15 years, is I was spending an inordinate amount of time on my keyboard, right? Instead of being in front of the channel partner on calls, playing golf, building relationships, doing planning, QBRs, etc. And I said, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this picture, right? A partnerships leader like myself shouldn't be spending all this time doing all this busy work, scrambling to get the insights I need, spending a week to prepare a QBR document. And I said, hey, instead of complaining, let me go out there and build an AI agent that does all this, right? And gives me those 2 or 3 hours of my day back. And this can be used by tens of thousands of my colleagues around the world and make their life a lot better, happier. So that's kind of the genesis of what we've built. But this podcast isn't about a product. This podcast is really about partner intelligence as a concept. And I'd like to kick this off by asking the simple question, so our viewers we're all on the same page: is what is partner intelligence, right? And what we see as partnership leaders is that we've got that partner program, right? We think we've figured out all the joint sales plays, and we've put all the incentives in place for our sales teams and the partners, but we really struggle to get that co-sell flywheel going. And so partner intelligence was born because it's about having the right customer and partner insights at any given point in that buyer's journey, right? Our friend Jay McBain talks about the 28 moments in a buyer's journey, enterprise solution buyer's journey, having the right insights at any given point to move the customer from one point to the next point, and really to help them make the right decisions, right? And take the most effective actions at that particular point as we collaborate with our partners. So, Asher, I would love for you to share what you're seeing out there, right? As you talk to partnership leaders all day long, how are they dealing with this new technology, and what are some of their challenges and opportunities?
Yeah. So thanks for the tee up. I would say the partnerships world is having a moment, right? And primarily because of the rapid rise of AI, right? And I can walk people back a little bit, because when COVID took place, there was a partnerships moment because you couldn't meet people in person, right? And then when COVID subsided, there was another partnerships moment because you could meet people, but you really wanted to make sure you could go to the right events and meet with the right people, right? So, and the partnerships helps all of these things. Then the CPO role got introduced, and partnership leaders had another moment to elevate themselves, right? And then uh, and then growth at all costs became something that wasn't favored by the public markets. So there was another partnerships moment, right? And now you are riding, I mean, there's an opportunity to ride the AI wave because AI is a company level mandate, right? But the thing that's important to understand is that the resources are very constrained, right? And then if you think about it as a partnership leader, if resources are constrained and your company wants to build all of the products that they possibly want to build, they're not gonna have access to like compute and storage and connectivity and then even though it seems like there are a lot of people available, a lot of engineers available, the technology is actually going to help advance the writing of software. So there is a partnerships moment here where the partnership leader can actually help the company participate in what we're calling the AI economy, because you have to make relationships with everybody, right? I mean, you can kind of see what's happening with the Mag 7, right? They are investors in each other's companies, they're investing in competitors, they're cutting deals with competitors. So you need to have an ecosystem mindset to keep things clear for the company, because what you don't want is Microsoft going, I mean, this is an interesting one. So Microsoft going, partnering with OpenAI. Then they're also partnering with Anthropic. Then we're partnering with all the other LLM companies, right? So, and then they're selling some, and then they're not selling some. And so, what you don't want in a situation like this is to confuse your own go-to-market team. And this is, I think, an important part where a partnership leader can play an awesome role, is to just prioritize the relationships for the company and also keep that very clear, just like how a CMO prioritizes markets for a company, prioritizes personas for a company, prioritizes packages and pricing for a company, or a CRO prioritizes deal sizes, and they optimize revenue for the company by increasing ASPs and stuff, right? So making sure that salespeople have the right book of businesses, they have the right rigor around their sales processes. So there's an opportunity for the partnership leader to go and volunteer in a lot of cases. The help that the company needs around prioritizing and optimizing relationships to ultimately help customers drive outcomes and then help their company and position the company for winning. And I think that is an awesome time to engage with the C-suite at a company and then become one of them. And you can see the
Yeah, no,
proof is
that
in the
is
numbers, right? So we're about to get to about 1,200 CPOs in the market,
incredible.
and every day you see like people getting hired in partnerships. Every single top AI company is hiring partner people. Some are hiring like tens of partner people. I heard one company was hiring like 90 partner people in like 2 months
Wow.
and stuff. So what's going to happen is there's a lot of demand for partner people, demand for business focused partner people. So
Hmm.
you have to understand the business, you have to navigate ambiguity, and you have a chance to support your company and yourself to excel in this market.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you've articulated that really well. And I think it might have been on one of your partnership leaders webinars that I first heard the term partner market fit. You've got the chief product
Yes.
officers who have to worry about product market fit, but the chief partner officers have to worry about partner market fit, right? So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I can
So
double click
let,
on that.
yeah,
In my
yep,
mind, when when you're thinking about going to market with partners, you can't go serve all the partner types at the same time. I think companies can suffer from indigestion if they do that. And you create a lot of friction in the primary go-to-market model for the company, unless your primary go-to-market model is partnerships. And if you're a cybersecurity company, then it is. But even then, you are prioritizing channel partnerships more than anything else, right? So just as you get out the gate with go-to-market fit and use get to a point where your company is seeing a little bit of growth decline, then you have to come up with new ways to speed up that growth. And partnerships is the way to provide leverage to companies. But what you can't do is serve like seven different partner types at the same time because your company kind of can only, I'd say, fully support one partner type. And I would say sequencing them would be the right way to going to market with partners versus just opening the door and allowing any partner to come and sign up.
Talking about what's needed here is quality and not quantity, right? This is not a game of showing, hey, I've got 5,000, channel partners in my program. The question really is, well, how much revenue are they bringing in? How many of those are really active, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's a really good point. I want to just pivot a little bit to an adjacency here, which is the use of AI, right, in partnerships. And I'd love to pick your brains on, again, as you have all these conversations with partnership leaders, what is kind of that stage of AI maturity, if you will, that you see most enterprise software companies and even mid-market software companies, what stage of maturity are they at? Are they just, you hear a lot of companies saying, yeah, sure, we use AI. And, all they're really doing is using a chatbot to pull up some information about a partner program, or they're using it to do some very basic content creation. But do you see them at that stage? Have they progressed or are they progressing beyond that stage? Would love to get your insights.
Yeah. So if you think about like AI and partnerships specifically, I believe our last survey said that 90% or close to it of partner teams are using some enterprise AI solution. And that's probably one of the four that are in the marketplace today, right? Like one by OpenAI, one by Anthropic, one by Google Cloud, and I think the fourth one is Perplexity. I haven't used Perplexity myself, but it keeps coming up. And so I would say the so the tools are available, and given that all of those companies are releasing new functionality pretty much like every week, sometimes even on Sundays, right? That the teams think are leveraging generative AI capabilities a lot more than the agentic capabilities. There are some that have started to deploy things like Claude Cowork and start to build their own agents. I I don't have an exact data point on partner teams creating agents for themselves, although there's lots of demand around how do we think about managing our long tail partners with agents. And this is kind of an interesting one because to me, I think if the goal is to play more with your A players, the team should think about using agents on their top partners and complementing administrative workflows with agents so that things can move faster, but also with quality. And I don't believe the teams are there yet on that front.
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting take. We've been talking to a lot of partnership leaders as well last year as we built our MVP, and we did hear a lot of them saying, yeah, we're using ChatGPT for this specific use case for some content creation. We're using a Gemini to create some of our slide decks or what have you, but sort of, what I would call almost like, it's like a Tesla, right? You've got levels 1 through 4 of self-drive. I think folks using AI in partnerships are still kind of at that between level 0 and level 1, between automation and kind of the basic cruise control or stay in lane, right? Would be a metaphor. So yeah, no, that's very, very insightful. The other thing that it really interested me is the study that you recently did, and you just alluded to it, right? Is that there's a new CPO being appointed every week, or was it every 2 weeks? I forget now. What
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that
yeah. We,
data
we
data
were on
that
a roll.
you?
I haven't seen one this week, but I'm assuming it's because people are busy. But for January, there was a new CPU every week. I think that was amazing.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So there's just kind of this paradox in a way, right? Because I wasn't a chief partner officer or anything. I was an individual contributor. managing some strategic alliances for AWS, etc. And what I've seen at my level, at the individual contributor level, the partner director level or alliance director level, is that there was a lot of churn. Most of my colleagues, I don't think lasted for more than 2.5 years in their job, and they were just on to looking for kind of the next job. And so for me, that's always a paradox, right? You've got companies investing millions of dollars in kind of these C-level roles, and yet somehow it seems like things at the grassroots level, things aren't working. Am I completely off tangent here, or are you kind of saying the
Yeah.
same thing?
So if this is about the capability of the partnership leader, then just like sales leaders and marketing leaders, you have partnership leaders for different stages of the company. But I also believe that you have partnership leaders by partner type, because the people that know this reseller motion really well, they don't actually know the co-sell motion that well. And the people which you would find if you were dealing with the SIs and the services companies and agencies, you would find a lot of co-selling that takes place, right? And then that's another motion, right? But then if the co-selling leader went into a world where you had to work with value-added resellers and distributors and stuff like that, I think today they would struggle
Mhm.
unless they realized that very quickly and hired somebody on their team to manage that. But don't and this is actually a really good question that we should discuss in the broader market is the primary skill set of a partnership leader in terms of the motion that they can deploy, and then how deep can they go into another motion. And for the large part, I think people are moving away from just reselling unless you are in the data center build out space, because I think that is where resellers are having an amazing time, because like just the infrastructure build out that's happening in the marketplace right now, data centers coming up left and right, that market for sure is a resell market.
Yeah, just keeping up with the demand, right?
Yeah, totally.
Uh,
you know but I think too, just to sum it up, there are partnership leaders at different stages of the company, and then there's definitely partnership leaders that have majored in certain motions, which there should be alignment on the primary motion, partner motion of a company, and then you have a leader that knows that really well, and then you can layer on other motions.
Yeah, yeah. No, those are all really excellent points, and really speak to this evolution we've seen right in our jobs. Where when I worked for HP decades ago, partnership equal reseller, right? And you called Best Buy and you said, hey, how many units did you ship, last month, and what does your forecast look like in the next quarter? But that, of course, now has evolved, and we're kind of in this ecosystem-led growth, right? As
Yeah, yeah.
as folks like Bob Moore put it, where and Jay McBain, where in any given enterprise solution opportunity, if you're a software company, you're working with another 5 or 6 partners, and that collaboration is very complex. And to your point, does that partnership leader now have the skills, right, to do that? So
I would
that's
say the future partnership leader it has to have transformational skills. The only way you develop those are you actually go work on transformational projects. And I don't think you can be continue to becoming a chief partner officer just by being a transactional partnership leader. I don't think that's what the market needs today. Excuse me. The charter is like build, market, sell, serve through partners, and so you need to know a little bit about all of those things.
yeah. You're a jack of all trades, right? You really understand how products are built. You understand how they're marketed. You understand, and it's even more complex because you're building solutions, you're marketing solutions, you're selling solutions, you're servicing solutions.
Yeah.
Very, very, very complex. So yeah, nicely put, Asher. I can totally relate to that based on my career experience. So the next question, really, before we wrap up here, is having understood where the state of partnership leaders is right now and the state of how AI is being used in this industry by our colleagues. The question then really becomes, how do people like yourself and me, the consultants, the fractional CPOs, folks who are building agents like me, how can we help these partnership leaders not only achieve, so it's a two-sided question. How do we help them achieve their goals at the corporate level, which is one set of goals. And then at the department function level, that can be a very different set of, not a different set of goals, but differently structured. They need to obviously tie into the corporate goals, but those KPIs are measured in a very different way. Would love to get your view on that.
Yeah. I have a pretty strong opinion on this one. I don't think fractional partnership leaders work. I mean, and we actually said, like, we saw the data, right? So this is pretty data driven insight. Like, of all of our members that went to become fractional CPOs, you may actually just be able to be a consultant in a company and stuff like that, but the fractional CPO model does not work. Fractional CMOs work because the stuff they do is very playbook oriented. And then fractional CROs work because, again, the playbook is very systematized, right? But just the nature of partnerships at the level of a CPO, the fractional CPOs don't work. We don't have a single, I would say, use case of a fractional CPO at a mid market and above company that is actually in the CPO. Now, you may call yourself a fractional CPO at a startup, but you're not really CPO, right? Like the scope is not CPO, right? You're just trying to get the partner motion going, right? But for a CPO level scope, I don't see how a fractional CPO could get anything meaningful done, as if
Right.
you're at a company. So I think that's one point. The second point around just different types of consultants and advisory folks that are out there. I mean, obviously, PL is doing a lot of it ourselves, but we're doing it because we created a value inside of our company called Be Bold, and part of the Be Bold value is that we would keep an eye on ambiguity and things that just are not true in the partnerships world and just clarify the situation because our mission is to elevate partnerships around the world. So the Be Bold value allows us to take the role of transparently passing judgment now, and just focusing on the things that are right. So that's like the role that we're playing, which is how do we take what's being shared in the marketplace by everyone and just try to make sense of it, simplify it, and then share it back with our members and allow them to then take this further and just be successful at it, right? So that's one role. You can be the person that clarifies just information. The other role is the people that can help companies understand how to buy the right tools, get them implemented, and then get the company ready for scale. The other opportunity is people that can help companies with change management because that is another skill. Like picking the right tool, getting it implemented, configured, going is totally one skill, but actually getting the change management done so that the data that the tool provides shows up in scorecards and reports and stuff like that. So you've got a lot of different. So there's tons of opportunity for consulting and advisory, and there's easily like 12, 13, 14,000 companies out there that I would say are in the ICP where people could actually build a business around it. Now, so I would just say for the people that are listening to this podcast that are more in the fractional role, is just pick the type of consulting projects that are very tied into the experience where you found success in your career. So if you're enterprise co-seller and that's what you did, then doing enterprise reselling doesn't really make sense. Those projects are not going to be successful. You're gonna feel it, you know.
Right. Right. Look at your strengths, look at your skills, and then it's almost like moving to an adjacency, right? We're not making a leap. We're trying to move to an adjacency. We're trying to grow in our careers. That's really good advice. This has been fantastic. I've learned a lot. Asher, leaders. Anything you'd like to leave our audience with? Some key
Yeah, I
takeaways,
would
things
just
to
encourage
look out for.
people to really be heads down and look for opportunities inside your company that allow you to get budget and authority. I think this is the moment, right? Because if you don't get budget, you cannot actually do anything successfully. And if you don't get authority, even though you have budget, you cannot say no to the things that you don't want to do. So I think getting budget and authority are paramount, and the opportunities for that are available today because every CEO has to get the AI mandate completed and they have to grow efficiently. Unless you're one of the companies like Anthropic and OpenAI that you can raise no matter what. But if you're not, then you have to grow efficiently. So there's an opportunity for the partnership leader to go and prove their value, but you don't do it without budget and authority.
Yep. Budget and authority. Absolutely. We're gonna have to leave it there. Asher, thank you so much for your time. It was really an honor having you be our very first guest on our very first episode
Thank
of
you for having me.
Partner Intelligence. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Arben,
Thank you all for listening. And please leave your comments if you're on social media. We'd love to get your feedback. Thanks, Asher. See you.
good luck with Partner Assistant AI.
Thank you.